let's make some excuses here, you know?
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is that if a guy were to commit suicide and he's a physically capable man, it's selfish because you're not going to be there for your mother and father. Imagine if they also had to go through that winter of their life, knowing that their son committed suicide. How selfish that is.
Okay, guys, Alpha King Nima here today in Miami.
Yes, man.
How long you been out here, man?
So thanks for having me.
Yep.
First off, I've seen your show quite a bit. I'm finally glad we get to hang out, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've been seeing your stuff too, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, wow. So, so man, you know, I'm here and in Germany. My wife and daughter were born in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, I met them in Spain at an Airbnb. I was just backpacking. You know, I had a tiny room years. I was in my 30s. She was in her 20s. And then we met. She came out to Miami like 7 weeks later, first date, took her to a little Cuban spot. And years later, we got a family.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. And now I got a home in Germany, so I go back and forth.
That's cool.
One thing that makes America special, China, Germany's a beautiful country, man. A very beautiful country. It's just that if you're in a homogenous country and you're not part of that ethnic group, you're always a foreigner. Whereas in the United States, and it's not just Germany, you could go to South Korea, you go to China, you go to Iran, you go to Nigeria, same thing. It's not exclusive to Germany. I love Germany. It's just that in the United States, anyone can be German. I mean, anyone can be American. Anyone can be American here. My wife was born in Germany. She comes here, she's American, and she fits right in. And I think that's what makes the United States truly special. And I say that as an expat who spends, you know, in the last year, I've probably spent about 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months actually more than that. Yeah, about 6 months overseas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to know. And a lot of people won't even know that because they don't travel outside the country. So they don't know what they got right here.
Yeah, especially Americans that have never gone to the opposite side of things, you know? Like for example, I've gone to a Palestinian neighborhood in Israel. I've also gone to China, communist country, more than once. I've gone to Iran. I've gone to Germany. I've gone to, obviously here in the United States. When you go to these opposites, you get a greater sense of empathy for others, but it's important to also have empathy for the people who don't do it. And that's the majority. Because then you come off like an elitist. Then you come off intellectually arrogant. And I think that after a while, man, you start getting successful. I'm 44. I'm probably a lot older than you, you know? You're in your 20s, right?
28, yeah.
Yeah, young man, you know? So I'm middle-aged. So, you know, when you get more and more successful, it's a cliche almost, sounds dorky, but it's true. It's like, when you're extremely intelligent, you have an extremely high IQ, you're extremely successful financially, man, like learning the patience to still be considerate and kind to people who are not as fast as you. So when you have to explain something to them, you do it with politeness. And because otherwise, man, it's a nasty way to go, man. Like, I'll give you an example. My wife is a great cook. Fantastic cook. She's also like an engineer in our home. She knows how to fix things. I don't. I could put her down and say how I'm good at X, Y, and Z, and she isn't. But I try not to because she's always considerate to me at what I don't know.
I love that.
You know,
focusing on your strengths and acknowledging each other's weaknesses.
But yeah, man. I could never have my family without my wife, man. My wife is more good to me than I am to her, man. I work way too much. It's very hard for me. You know, she deserves way more attention. I love what I do.
No, you need a good wife when you're an entrepreneur because our lifestyle is unpredictable.
Especially if I could tell you love what you do.
Yeah.
When you love what you do, bro, it's like you can work nonstop and you don't even look at the hour. Like when's the last point you were like, okay, man, I'm going to get off at 4:00. I can't wait till 4:00 to get off.
I've never thought like that.
Right?
I've done 8 podcasts today and I'm still super energized and I love it.
Right. So like, I've never thought to myself like, alarm, 7 a.m. Darn, I got to get to work at 8 and I can't wait till 4:00 to get off. I've never thought like that for maybe 20 years. something like that, you know?
Yeah. If you're building something, doesn't matter if it's a business, a brand, or just a better version of yourself, then you already know the work never really stops. Your brain is always on. Ideas at 2 a.m., problems at 3, plans at 4. But here's the truth. If you never shut down, you're going to crash fast. That's why I use Sambrosa. It's not hype. It's not some trendy sleep hack. It's a legit syrup that helps you fall asleep when your brain won't let you. You take it and 20 to 30 minutes later, you're out. Not groggy, not drugged up, just to sleep like you're supposed to be. Then you wake up clear with no brain fog, no dragging yourself out of bed, you get your hours in, and you actually feel like you slept. Sleep isn't optional, it's not self-care, it's strategy. If you're not getting it right, you're leaving energy, focus, and money on the table. Sambrosa helps me sleep, it helps me execute, that's the only reason I talk about it. You want to get ahead, start by getting real rest. Check out the link below in their website, www.sambrosa.com.
At least years and years, because I love what I do. I love working.
Yeah, if anything, it's the opposite. I want more time to work.
Yeah, I wish I could get an extra 5 hours at night. I would go all the way. But then it's like I'm crunching in how much hours I sleep, you know?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. You have wife and kids?
Getting married this year. So yeah, kids on the way, hopefully soon.
Oh, wonderful, man. I think the two things I wish I would have known before I got married is, number one, how much attention you should give your wife. Don't underestimate how much attention you should give your wife, man, on a daily basis. Because when you're single, you can just work like an animal, you know? And you just completely forget. And if you don't, you know, you could have all the success in the world. You don't give your wife attention.
You're a loser.
Yeah, you should go sit with a personal trainer.
Yeah, that's what happens to some people, yeah.
You know? And then you get bitter like Myron on Fresh and Fit. You know? Right? Like 38, 35 years old, still bitter, you know? But you don't need to do that. You know, if you know, one of the saddest things actually about the red pill space is how there's not more older men who are actually in healthy marriages with the same woman for years. I've never cheated on my wife. I wouldn't trust a man who cheats on his wife. I just point full stop. I could never trust you in business if I know you cheat on your wife. I have no doubt in my mind, if you can cheat on the woman that you pillow talk with, you'll fuck me in business.
Easily.
Easy. Because it says so much about your shortcoming as a man, your lack of principles and values, morals and ethics. What's more, because you're not just cheating on your wife, bro. You're cheating on your children. You're cheating on her parents. You know, that my wife's got this big German father, man. He's like a Viking. He took me in like a son. And if I cheated on her, I'd cheat on him. You know?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I cheat on my daughter. I couldn't even get hard to cheat on that. I couldn't even get hard to cheat on my wife because there's so much love for the family. And nothing would bring me more happiness than having a daughter. I think a lot of these guys, man, that disrespect, mistreat women, if they have a daughter, they say like the biggest playboys had a daughter, you know? I got a daughter. I live with you know, my regret. I live with heavy on my conscience. I paid a price for what I did. And I think just last night or the other night, I thought there was a Jay-Z said something about, I hope my daughter doesn't pay the price for her father's sins.
Damn.
He said something like that years back, you know. In my generation, Jay-Z was like the hero. Now he's gets slaughtered, you know? You know? But in my generations, when he said that, I was thinking like, I hope my daughter doesn't pay the price for what I've done. You know, maybe, you know, I try to always be polite with women, but maybe I didn't take them seriously. I just used them maybe for sex and kept it casual. Maybe they liked me more than I liked them.
And that type of lifestyle is heavily promoted these days.
Yeah, I mean, you're hurting someone's daughter. And I would never want someone to hurt my daughter.
Yeah, it's a glorified, I think Dan Bilzerian was the first to kind of put it in the mainstream, just hook up with as many women as possible. You know?
I mean, Dan Bilzerian is, put into context, Dan Bilzerian has sold out America. He served the Armenian military. He has several SEC lawsuits with fraud. I don't see him at all as a role model, man.
His father's banned from the country, I think.
I mean, bro, we got like, I mean, if that's your role model, man.
Shout out to Northwest Registered Agent, today's sponsor. Starting your own business should be exciting, not overwhelming. I've been there and I know how fast things can get complicated. Imagine getting it all done, your entire business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes, seriously. With Northwest Registered Agent, you get more privacy, more control, and real experts who've been doing this for nearly 30 years. Whether you're launching an LLC or starting a corporation, Northwest forms your business for just $39 plus state fees and gives you the support you need every step of the way. If you need a website, a local business address, trademark protection, they've got you covered, all in one easy account. And here's the big one. You could protect your identity by using their address instead of your home. Want more? Their premium mail forwarding gives your business a professional presence while keeping your personal info secure. Don't wait, protect your privacy. Build your brand and set up your business in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit northwestregisteredagent.com/social hour and start building something amazing.
And I mean, you know?
Yeah, I just think a lot of...
I know it's not yours. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, I think from the perspective of people that idolize people like that, I think they're very vulnerable. They're on social media and they're like mentally not there. And they look for like a male role model. And they see a guy that's jacked and getting woman money and they idolize him.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, it's like the social media's that rage bait. I heard you did a podcast with the Sev, the talented kid, the Orthodox Jewish kid, very talented. And it's like, man, the rage bait is what works. So it's like a race to the bottom. Right? It's legitimately like a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like Kanye's format of creativity, it's sort of becoming predictable. I'll explain why. Like, it's almost like I'll take anything that's not popular and make it popular. So for example, I'll take the Nazi logo, make it popular, because no one would do that. I'll talk about, the Jews should go to, it's all the Jews' fault because he shouldn't talk about it. So he'll talk about it. Or he'll say something like, he'll attack Jay-Z, or he'll attack maybe whatever, like a Kendrick Lamar, whatever, Drake, whatever. Like, he'll attack the people that you should never attack. Their institutions. Or he'll talk about how he was giving a blowjob to his cousin till the age of 14. It's like, I'll talk about exactly what I'm not supposed to talk about. Anything you're not supposed to talk about, he'll talk. And it's, to me, that's not so much creativity. I feel like Kanye is a very talented, gifted person. More than I could ever do with music. I could never make the music he makes. I love his music. It's almost, my friends explained it to me perfectly. He said, Kanye is like now he's this older guy, like in the New York subway, for example, who's just talking to himself. Like in New York, you see guys just talking to themselves. And it's like he sort of lost his mind. He's not the same Kanye he was in his 20s and 30s. Kanye in his 20s and 30s was enough. Now we're talking to a guy who's, in midlife, 50s or whatever. He's gone off the reservation. It's not the same person. So I try to have some empathy for the guy. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I mean, people are getting dementia at earlier and earlier ages now. So people are getting cancer at earlier ages.
Yeah, everything, every disease.
But I do think that in the next 5-10 years, we're going to have a lot of these cancers are going to get solved.
I hope so.
With artificial intelligence.
So you're pumped about AI?
Yeah, I'm very very interested in AI. Yeah, my community, my trading community, we go over AI, we go over China, we go over crypto. So I started a trading community with Pablo Heeman. Pablo Heeman, he's Chinese. He's like a math genius, got a full scholarship to an elite university, worked as a successful trader at a successful investment bank, a prestigious investment bank. And in 2021, we saw an opportunity. My background was private equity. It is. And we said, hey, you know what? On Discord, it's a bunch of TikTokers. It's literally like kids that graduated from TikTok University that are just doing these crypto communities. And why don't we bring some professionalism to it? So now, since 2021, we got over 40,000 members. And one thing we do, we go over AI and some of the trends. And one of the biggest one of the biggest lies, man, is that China is behind on AI than the United States.
Mm.
And just recently, we got such validation, Sean, because the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen, he right away went to China. He went right away. He went to the communist capital, Beijing, basically. He went there and he talked to the Chinese. And now that he's back, he says, no, China is not behind us on AI. That's wishful thinking. That's our American patriotism, our narcissism that we think. And I'm not some liberal. I supported Trump. I'm not a liberal at all. But so before someone could in the comment section say, "Oh, Nima's a liberal. He's attacking Trump." No, I'm not. You know, I'm a realist. I'm practical. And the fact is that China, what they're doing with AI, they're not just copying and pasting. They basically took what they did with DeepSeek, and I know you're pretty familiar with this stuff with crypto.
Yeah.
No, they basically took DeepSeek with ChatGPT, did it with a fraction of the budget and a fraction of the time. You could talk about they copy and paste it all they want. Why didn't ChatGPT do that?
Mm.
They're clearly doing something. They're clearly, at the very least, you could say they're innovating. But to just say they're copy and pasting, it's American arrogance at its finest. And we're going to lose this century.
That's why they're catching up. Some people would say they're ahead of us in certain sectors too.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. I mean, you look at how many ships China could make, at what speed, at what quality. They have engineering marvels. Only thing if we're in a war and they can build more ships than us, what's going to happen?
And they got more people.
And they got 1.3 billion people. These people are not soft, weak, and stupid either. These guys know how to fight. They're not scared of us either. I think that's the in the United States, I think we're completely underestimating how important it is to have a good relationship with China. I believe we should have a great relationship with China. We should have China as our best friend. The whole world is safe.
With those two in power, yeah. No
Right?
one would want to challenge either one at that point.
Yeah, like this idea of wanting to go to war with China or them wanting to go to war, we all lose if there's a nuclear war. What's my other choice? I could just, say curse the Chinese. Yeah, it sounds good at a political rally or on X. You could say America first and then say blah, blah, blah. It sounds cute. Yeah, I get it. It sounds nice, but let's talk practicality. We got to share a planet with 1.3 billion Chinese. We got to share a world with hundreds of millions of Arabs, 15 million. We got to share a world with Africans. We got to share a world with Europeans. Like, we got to learn to live together, bro, because we're getting to the point with AI and nukes and drones, all of this shit. The world's getting scary. Biological weapons.
Yeah.
Like Wuhan times, 100x.
Yeah. Energy weapons, direct energy weapons.
Yeah. People forget that the flu epidemic, was like 100 years back. Like 10 million people or something died? Bro, 10 million, like 30, 20 million, something was out crazy how many people died from that. Way worse than COVID. So just imagine what's coming out.
Yeah, we need the right allies. So that being said, why do you think the United States should support Israel?
So one of the biggest red pills that's never discussed on X is that Israel does not need the United States to win any wars. They did it in 1948, 1956, 1962. I think it was 1972. The Suez Canal, the Independence War, the Six Day, and the Yom Kippur. Okay. Israel defeated all these enemies. They were attacked by several Arab countries: Egypt, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Palestinian militias. They were attacked by all of these. Tiny little Israel, without the United States support, defeated all of them. That is a fact. That is a fact. And here's the thing, that if Israel needed the United States for survival, it would not have existed after 1948 on that War of Independence. The reality is of why countries that hate the United States are pushing disinformation campaigns on X in particular is because they want the United States out of the Middle East. It's not that Israel needs the United States to survive. It's that the United States has so much influence and power when it's in the Middle East with the help of Israel.
Mm.
And what does Israel gain? They get a trusted ally. I've been to Israel, several trips. My family is also from Jerusalem.
Mm.
You go to Jerusalem, they love America. You go to Israel, they love America. I went there, I interviewed, put it on X.
Mm.
Anyone can go see it on my X account. I interviewed about 10 people in Jerusalem, where my family is from. What do we spit on Christian people when they visit Jerusalem? Not one person said he spit on a Christian.
Mm.
My wife is an evangelical Christian from Germany. I hope no one would spit on my daughter. My daughter's not a Jew. She has a Jewish father. You're Jewish from your mother's side. I'm perfectly fine raising my daughter as a Christian. I'm perfectly fine putting my daughter in a Christian school. And I studied Torah, Talmud. I studied, I'm a Jewish man. No, there's no doubt about it. But I don't feel I'm better than my wife.
Mm.
I don't feel, I hope my daughter gets just as much respect as anyone else. My daughter doesn't need to be for me to love her. I'll love her just as much as she's Jewish or not. You go to Israel, and I encourage you, I encourage anyone who's a Christian to go to the Holy Land. See Israel, go to Nazareth, go to Bethlehem, go see where Jesus and all these people you've read about, go see it. And even if you're not religious, go see it. It's a beautiful Mediterranean country. And you can see for yourself when you come back. They say, oh, you spit on Christians. If that's true, how come there's so many busloads of American Christians coming there to visit? They get off buses, Sean. You got American Christians getting off buses. That's how many Christian tourists go to Israel.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, imagine if they were all like a group just sitting around. Hey, we're going to spit on the Christians. It's disinformation. You know what I mean? Like that's it's disinformation. And Qatar, their mindset is this, and they're backed by other countries. Qatar's mindset is, okay, let's copy. They become successful in the United States and they buy out politicians. This is in their mind. They build APAC, so they control politically, domestically. What can we do to rival? Well, we can pour billions of dollars of cash into the United States. We can give their political leaders sweetheart deals in Qatar. We can buy their colleges and institutions. We can invest in American celebrities in Europe and the United States and their influencers. Now, it can be direct cash compensation, but that's not probably how it's going to happen. It's indirect compensation.
Mm.
Now, it could also be as small as an American influencer getting boosted tweets, boosted followers. They incentivize them. It's like in economics. You know, you're rewarding, you're giving someone an incentive for desired behavior.
Mm.
So Qatar is very, very, very advanced in that. You know, for example, Tucker Carlson did something recently where he smears Israel. And it's not enough that Tucker Carlson goes to Russia. You can go on RT and see Tucker Carlson featured on Russian RT, Russian state media. Mm. Now, I hope the United States and Russia has a good relationship. I got Russian friends. I have nothing against the Russians. I would love to go there. I always thought when I worked with fashion models in New York, I used to throw parties. The Russian women were beautiful.
Mm.
I have no
doubt about that.
You know, fashion models were beautiful. I have a lot of respect for Russian culture, the Ruski culture. My wife's best friend is Russian. There's no hostility towards the Russians. My lawyer is a Russian American. My main lawyer, the one I trust the most, my general counsel.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just saying it. If we're not friends with Russia, can we expect them to act in good faith? Maybe not. Hopefully we have new leadership in Russia. Hopefully we have new leadership in Iran. I hope I want to have a friend. I'm about peace, bro. I want to have a good relationship with the Palestinians. Mm. I want to have a good relationship with Russia, China, and Iran. Because what's the other choice? We're going to kill each other like animals? Lately, people are acting like more animalistic than human. I'm about making money. I want to make money in these markets. I want to expand. I want to build. Let's take human civilization to Mars. Let's try to cure cancer. Let's try to cure heart disease, diabetes. Let's try to cure some of these illnesses that are hurting people. Let's work on lowering domestic abuse. Let's work on having men stop committing so much suicide. You know, there are a lot of things we could work on as a civilization and go kill each other, man.
Yeah. Seems like wars are never ending. There's new ones popping up all the time now too. Now there's talks of India getting into a war. Crazy, right?
Yeah, you know, it's sad, man. In Europe, you have a lot of issues with the migrants. And a lot of them come from Afghanistan, Syria, North Africa. They come in there and they're just stabbing. And it's sad because there are some that do not do this. But the few who do this just, you know, they make it a very hostile situation.
I saw a video yesterday, Amsterdam police officer, all the migrants were just stomping on the vehicle. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they hate Jews. They also hate Europeans. But I got a ton of Arab friends. I got more Arabs that work with me. I make more money with Arabs than, you know, I look like an Arab. I probably have some Arab in me. Yesterday, I had some homemade Lebanese hummus, you know, with nice Lebanese lady from Argentina. So, you know, it's, you know.
You're a businessman. You don't let that stuff get in the way.
No, and at the very top, you'll see Larry Ellison, the, you know, co-founder of Oracle, second largest database company in the world, one of the richest men in the world, Elon Musk's best friend, one of his best friends. Larry Ellison could give $16 million to the IDF, but then you'll see him hanging out with Prince Al Talwayed of Saudi. Think about it, bro. You'll see Jared Kushner over there with Qatar. I don't understand how this is going on. There's things I don't understand. It's way beyond my pay.
There's levels to the game, right?
Right. At the very, very top, you're seeing Arabs and Jews. I've always, you know, in New York City in the nightlife where I worked for 10 years. I was doing parties in my 20s and 30s. I used to see so many Arabs, blacks, whites. At the top, everyone truly is together. And maybe that's just a metropolitan New York City thing. Maybe that was just something in New York. But I saw that in Paris. I saw that in Paris Fashion Week. I'd go out. And this is before it became so tranny and gay. When I was a youngster, this stuff was actually pretty cool. You know, so you go to London, you would just see all these people together. And now I feel like, man, it's a lot of polarization, bro. It was not like this.
Nightlife's changed a lot.
Nightlife changed a lot. People aren't drinking as much either.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Which is probably a good thing, yeah. But my generation ain't drinking. I heard clubs are really hurting right now.
My friend from New York, he just threw a party with 50 Cent and at the Soho House last week. And he was telling me, he was down here, he was like, man, people don't drink as much anymore in the nightclubs. And also, you're going to appreciate this. One big reason the nightclubs aren't popular anymore is the crypto. The Moon Boys are gone. So much crypto money is gone. Those boys were going out making it rain, making the TikToks.
Yeah. Those crypto nerds.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't see it as much.
Nah, crypto's down right now.
I also predict that in the next 5-10 years, austerity it's going to go more in vogue. The materialistic, when people are suffering economically, it's bad taste. I always think it's bad taste to show off how much money you got. I'm 44, man. I got a community of middle-aged, guys in their 40s that are married with kids. They're successful in their career, maybe. They're in their career. Like I understand if you're marketing to 20-year-olds, you want to show off fancy cars and stuff like that. I get it, because that's your market. And it makes sense. If that's your market, it makes sense. You're communicating with your market. That makes sense. So maybe I'm also, exemplifying arrogance to say I'm virtue signaling when it's just not my audience. Maybe I would do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a market for it, but to me, it doesn't impress me.
Yeah, bro. Because, once you got a wife, after this is all done, I have fun here with you. I'm so fortunate. I get to do a podcast with someone like you. I'm 44, bro. I go home, I play husband and dad.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's not too many 44-year-olds that get to do what I get to do, man.
Mm.
You know, with my friends, I'm pretty cool with my friends, you know, my age. You know, so it's like what am I going to do? Show off a sports car? What, to put myself in a bad position to cheat on my wife? I'm not going to do that. You know, I rarely go out to nightclubs now, man.
It's not worth it these days.
Rare.
If you got a wife and kids, I don't see the point. Maybe for a business meeting once in a while, but like, what else?
I'll go to an art exhibit tomorrow, for example. My friend Dalio Insights. I collect his art. I have a collection of his art. You're welcome to come, obviously. It's in South Beach at the Eden Gallery. He's the number one. Last year was the number one bestseller.
Damn.
At Eden. That's more than Alec Monopoly.
Really?
And Alec's a nice kid. His brother Avery's amazing. And there's no disrespect. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Alec's work too, just for the record. And Avery's a great guy. So I would just say, I'll go to an exhibit, but I'm done at like 8. I go home. And it's like social, you know?
Yeah.
So,
no, I feel you on that. These days I get home earlier and earlier, man.
I mean,
I'm in bed by 10.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, bro, I got a good wife. Like I'm not, you know, my wife respects me. My wife, I don't have those problems, man. Yeah. You know, like my wife respects me. When I come home, she respects me as the husband, the leader of the family. And I respect her. I don't tell her to go in the kitchen and cook and shut the fuck up. I treat her with respect the same way I want someone to treat my daughter when she gets married.
Yeah. She's from Europe.
Yeah. Because, you know, my daughter is going to be someone's wife too. So the best thing I can do, I think, is to treat another man's daughter the way I want my daughter to get treated. And that's by showing my daughter how I treat another man's daughter, which is her mom. Lead
by example.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You see a lot of the red pill complain about American women. I'm sure you've seen this and how they're spoiled and everything.
Yeah, man. Look, bro, there's something to be said about a lot of men are going through depression. A lot of men are scared and they're considering suicide. There's something to be said about that. However, if a guy was considering suicide, I would say, number one, don't feel shame to go to therapy. I think that is one of the most nastiest things, is to say therapy is for pussies, because you could go to the gym, you could work hard, make a ton of money, read books, and you're still depressed and suicidal. That can come. And to tell that person, hey, or to tell a Marine who comes back from war, who's having PTSD, don't go to therapy or you're a pussy. This guy just spent 7 years overseas defending our country on special operations, doing 10 tours. Yeah, he came back seeing his friend get fucking his face blown off. Yeah, he has PTSD. Yeah, he definitely, and his wife cheated on him when he was gone. Yeah, he's fucked up. He should go to he should go to therapy. Let's make some excuses here, you know?
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is that if a guy were to commit suicide and he's a physically capable man, it's selfish, because you're not going to be there for your mother and father. Because one day, Sean, your mom and dad will not be able to clean themselves after they go to the bathroom. When they defecate, they can't wipe themselves, they can't water themselves, they can't clean themselves. At one point, your mom and dad will not be able to feed themselves. You have to physically feed them, or a nurse has to. And the same is going to happen to you and me.
Yeah.
Imagine if they also had to go through that winter of their life, knowing that their son committed suicide. How selfish that is. How selfish that is. And then imagine the financial problem they may have, because they don't have a financially capable son to help make it easier for them in the winter of their life. So not just physically easier, financially easier. And we're not even talking about if you're married and you got kids and they got grandkids. Winter is winter. At least make it a nicer winter.
Yeah.
When my grandma passed away at 91, I love her. It was about 3 years back. The last day before she passed away in her sleep, there was a beautiful sunset and my mom was there. And a few weeks before that, she touched my wife's stomach. My wife was pregnant. She was a few months away from seeing her first great grandchild. That was the last point I ever saw my grandma smile.
Damn.
A few weeks before she died, she was already in the bed that she would basically die. But imagine if she was alone because I committed suicide. Imagine if she was alone because her daughter committed suicide. She had to go through all that alone, just pain, then die. And imagine she didn't have the financial support of her children.
Would have been way tougher.
Way tougher, right? So when you think about it, and then imagine if you have kids and you commit suicide. Now your child at the age of 2 does not have a father.
And some of them will also think it's their fault.
I mean, bro, it's like,
you know,
yeah, bro, like I'll tell you something, man. I'm willing to go through, I've thought about the price I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to go through 50 years of severe agony, torture, pain. I'm talking about pain like you go in a cold plunge that's beyond freezing and you sit there till you pass out or die. I'm willing to go through that sort of emotional pain, agony, stress, torture for 50 years. So I'm there for my daughter.
Wow.
Because I don't want her to say something happened to me and I gave up. I've had a great life, man. I've had a great life. Every day for me at this point is truly a gift. It's always been a gift. I've already lived a complete life. I have a mission at this point, at the age of 44, which is to try to do my best for my parents-in-law, my wife, and definitely my daughter. And also try to lead my team in business and try to create more jobs and help them achieve their goals, you know? But, you know, it's when you start thinking like that, man, it's like when I'm in a cold plunge, I told one of my best friends this. I think he was a D1 college football player. I told him he's much bigger and tougher than me. He's a big Nigerian. I told him, I said, listen, man, that last 10 seconds in the cold plunge, I visualize my little daughter walking around and it gives me the power to push through. Earlier this morning, I was doing sprints. And when I'm doing sprints, when the wind is hitting me on the track, I'm trying to hit my goal is 120 for a quarter mile, 400. I'm in pain. I can think of my daughter to try to hit that goal. Today I hit 124. I wasn't feeling my best. Go easy on me. I'm 44, but thank God I'm alive. And I think of my daughter. And because I asked a cancer doctor, he graduated from Columbia University. His name's Eugene. He looks like a bodybuilder, bro. He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger almost, but a younger version. And he's a sprinter, heavy lifter, but also a sprinter. Cancer doctor, oncologist. I asked him, I said, what's the number one exercise to fight cancer? He said, sprints. So I try to get in at least 1 or 2 days of sprints, bro.
Sprinting's good for you, man. Gary Brecka came on the pod and he said 95% of people over the age of, I think, 30 don't sprint or sprint the rest of their life or something like that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because once you're past 30, you're not playing in sports or whatever. And you just stop sprinting, I guess.
Yeah, my mom's a huge fan of Gary, man.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He put me onto the biohacking space.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's changed my life.
Yeah?
Because when your health is right, you're just a way better entrepreneur.
Yeah, sometimes things happen in your life, bro, where it's like, it looks very dark in the beginning, but it's like the biggest blessing. So my mom, about 6 years back, had cancer in her breast. And before that, she was not taking care of herself. She gained a little weight. She was antisocial. But that was a big turnaround for her because now she's 71. She's like a longevity grandma, lean, athletic, eats clean, like low carb. I mean, is truly amazing when you look at her. She does not look 71 at all.
Love that.
She survived that cancer stuff, man, like 6 years now, and it's amazing. Hey, look at Biggie Smalls' mom. He talked about his mom having cancer in his breast. She lived another 30 years.
Damn.
Now imagine with all the advancements in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, machine learning, how much faster we're going to get to clinical trials, which clinical trials we take, what are the results from the clinical trials, how much faster. Look at what Alibaba did. Alibaba has an AI. This is mind-blowing, bro, where they took 40,000 patients, bro, 40,000 patients, and they screened them against doctors with the AI for pancreatic cancer. And bro, that's a scary cancer. That's not like catching a colon cancer early, polyp, you're done. That's a scary cancer. You got colon cancer, you catch it early, you got, let's say, 99% survival rate, 5-year. Unfortunately, pancreatic cancer, you got a lower odd, even if you get it early. So Chinese, this is how smart the Chinese people are, man. Alibaba AI did a test, 40,000 patients, and you got human doctors. And it was like 34% or something like that. Anyone could Google, fact check me out. But it was about 34% better at catching pancreatic cancer, basically, than the human doctors.
Holy crap.
This just happened.
It's nuts.
We're in April 2025 for anyone who hears this.
I don't doubt it, man. I just took a health test. I imported the results into ChatGPT and asked for some recommendations, and it helped me tremendously. And it read my tests and in 2 seconds gave me stuff to do for my health.
Beautiful, man.
Nuts, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro, because imagine in 5 years where we're at. Right?
It'll be doing it for you probably.
You know?
You know?
There's a company called Prenuvo.
Yeah, I got that scan too.
You did?
Yeah, full body MRI.
Take your mom, man. Take your wife.
I told my mom about it and my wife, yeah.
It's not enough that you go, brother. You're wealthy. You're successful.
I mean, dude,
you got the money, man.
Even for me, I learned so much about my body. I was like, that was one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. Because I'm telling you, I took my wife and my mom in 2023. I want to go again this year, in the 2 year.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, man. Because then you have it on I got it on my app.
Yep.
I can see. Also, I use a company called My Life Force.
Is that Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins and Dr. Peter Diamandis.
Yeah.
And my health coach, Serena, is amazing. I have a functional doctor, Dr. Thomas. She's amazing. They have helped me so much. I had low vitamin D. My vitamin D is now much better. I'm working on my glucose, but I just get to lock in on exactly, they do like 50 biomarkers basically quarterly. And they help you. And then now that you can also get Whoop, add the Whoop biometric, the wedding scale, you can add that. So you're looking at, you're getting your weight, you're getting your weight, you're getting your sleep, you're getting like 50 biomarkers quarterly tested, and getting a supplement stack that's precise to what you're doing. And then also, even like I'll go get like a stool test just to see how my gut microbiome is doing. I can tell that to them and then put it with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden you got all of this to complement just doing a physical that I'll do in Germany with my physician.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, because if you catch these things early, you're so much better off, man.
Way better.
If we just make it to 2030, bro, if we're having this conversation in 2030, I think a lot of these, you're going to see a lot better cancer survival rates, man. Heart disease, heart disease rates, diabetes rates, all this. I'm not a longevity freak, man. I got a daughter.
Yeah.
It's reckless for me to not go or get a colonoscopy. I got a colonoscopy. It's not like, oh, I'm not scared to go get a colonoscopy. No, I'm sort of scared to go get a colonoscopy. I'll go do it. Why not? What's the other choice? Not know if I got colon cancer?
All right.
Yeah, I'd rather go get a colonoscopy, find out. You know?
Yeah. You want to walk her down the wedding aisle one day, you know? Exactly.
And another thing is get the PSA. It's so easy. You just get your blood tested. So prostate cancer and colon cancer, bro, like if every man just goes and gets tested for these things, and it's not hard, you know, it's like, bro, not many people should die of prostate and colon cancer if you're getting it tested.
Yeah.
Because your survival rate is like 98, 99% in the first 5 years. People think of cancer, they're thinking, okay, you got cancer, you're dying. It's not the 70s and 80s anymore, bro. We're in the 2020s now. Like you legit could get cancer and still go 40, 50 years.
I know people that have gotten stage 4 and have beaten it.
Shit.
You know?
Shit, man.
Yeah. Stage 3, stage 4. So health is advancing.
My mom's best friend, she was told she had 2-3 years to live. This is 11 years back. Now she's in her 70s. She also looks like a longevity freak, bro.
It's dangerous when these doctors give timetables like that, I think, because your mind is very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a fan of that, whether it's 2 months or 5 years. It's like, you're going to start manifesting it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a doctorate degree. They're getting a medical degree in medicine. So they're learning how to prescribe medicine, prescription pills, rather than, I think like health, then, you know, like actual doing healthcare. Like, hey man, dial in, you know, lock in nutrition, exercise, sleep, fasting. I mean, fasting for me, I don't recommend fasting everybody. Fasting works for me.
I love it.
Yeah?
I intermittent fast every day.
Beautiful, man.
And then I do a 3-day fast once a year.
Nice, man.
Yeah. That's a good mental challenge too.
Yeah. I like doing I like doing a little bit more, but I'm starting later than you.
Yeah.
I started in my 40s. You're starting in your 20s, which is phenomenal. Way better than I wish I would have started in my 20s.
You were at the nightclub in your 20s.
Yeah, I was torturing myself, man. Yeah, man. Now I try to do it once every month or two. 3-day water fast.
Nice.
But bro, I feel amazing. I'm going to a tech conference in San Francisco next week, and I know it's stuff that I don't necessarily like to do. I'm going out there, meet some people. But anyway, long story short, there's some classes I'm going to take. I don't feel like a kid again. Try to work my brain against dementia and just learn.
Always be learning.
Yeah, always learn, man. I like it, and I didn't like college, but I do like this subject in particular of what I'm learning. And anyway, long story short, I want to go in there fasted, because when I go in there fasted, I'm sharp, bro.
Yeah.
If I have to do something after 24, 48, if I have to do something I hate and I go in there 24, 48 hour fasted, I'm much better.
Easily, night and day.
Much better, man.
We'll end off with some politics. You said you voted for Trump earlier. How do you think he's done in his first 100 days so far?
I think Trump, that's a good question, man. I think I like Trump, man. I just hope that we get a better relationship with China. And I think that a lot of American investors and traders right now are missing a massive opportunity not trading in China. One reason I'd say is you have bigger price swings because you have less institutions, you have much more volatility, you have faster movement. Another reason why the Chinese stock market is amazing is because you have undervalued companies. You could take one tech company in China, one tech company in the United States. The one in the United States on the same earnings will trade at a 10x multiple of their valuation of the Chinese company. And the reason why is political fear, Western media bias, and also limited U.S. investor access. And another benefit of it is of trading in China. My community, we trade China heavy. Yeah. Hang Seng Index. My partner, former investment banker, he's in Hong Kong. So you also have less competition, bro. You have less competition. You have less bots in China in their market.
Yeah.
And more room to get a big W, man.
That's good to know. I never knew that.
Yeah, we've been covering China for years, man. And I've been like begging my partner, man, because he's big in crypto too. But I'm like begging my partner. I'm like, bro, like, let's get on China. Let's get on China. Now, finally, he's excited about China. Now with this China tariff war, I'm like, fantastic, because we've been working on China. We've been discussing China since 2021.
Yeah.
When we started our community, China and crypto. Because I believe that diversification into physical gold, Bitcoin, Chinese equities, and then also not debt, because with debt you're relying on these central banks, but equity is something else. So Chinese equities, Bitcoin, and physical gold, like actual physical gold.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, bro. Because if you're not doing any diversification at this point, you're taking a massive risk.
Too risky to go all in on one thing right now.
I'd say especially with the economy the way it is.
Yeah, stocks and crypto got wrecked the past month.
Yeah, I mean, some people will say China is too risky, but what's riskier, diversification or putting all of your savings and investments in one country like the United States with about $38 trillion in debt?
Yeah, and a lot of stocks are overvalued here, in my opinion. You saw that. That was a big reason why they dipped past few months.
I mean, bro, we're talking about NVIDIA. That's what these people, bro, it's what they're doing to Americans is like criminal, you know? Yeah. They have you focus on the S&P, which is basically just a few stocks at this point, like 7 stocks. They talk about NVIDIA all day. But you know how many Chinese companies like Tencent, Baidu? I mean, I could just go on and on. BYD, we could spend 10 minutes going over to Chinese companies. But they're not talking about these companies, but they'll have you focus on NVIDIA. Meanwhile, what do you think Wall Street's doing? They're going ahead. These top private equity funds, these hedge funds, I respect Ray Dalio. He's open about it. I respect David Tipper. He's open about how they like investing in China. Imagine how many hedge funds and private equity firms are investing in China and you just don't know. They scare you. They scare all these Americans into not trading with the Chinese, even if they are commie. Who gives a shit? There's business opportunities there. Right?
Yeah.
There's business opportunities there. And for Americans to not do it based on this idea of patriotism. Patriotism for what? To see Congress people in Washington get millions of dollars? Insider trading as they're passing laws that you and we can't do a fucking Venmo, bro, without getting an audit. And you're talking about Nancy Pelosi or whatever, they can make $20 million, bro, on a $250,000 a year salary.
And that's just what they're recording. That's not including family members, friends and stuff.
What's the possibility these same politicians aren't also putting money in China?
Slim.
Imagine, bro, you're scaring Americans. They scare Americans to not trust these commies.
Yes. They're just reporting on their American stock income.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing is, I would definitely recommend everyone do not just buy stocks on U.S. stock exchange, U.S. brokerages like Interactive Broker and Schwab, which are great. You can get access to Chinese equities, but also what would you do in the event of delisting? You could also, Ray Dalio, I think he's one person, anyone that's interested in learning in China. I mean, I'm obviously going to plug, you can come into my trading community, but Ray Dalio is a GOAT. Like I admire him so much, and David Tipper, what they talk about. These are billionaire hedge fund managers. It's not just me. Ray Dalio said something of, Ray Dalio said this, not me. He said, it's not a matter of if I should invest in China, it's how much.
And that dude's a billionaire, so I would listen.
He talks about it like it's the century of China. And I think it is, man. I do not see, unfortunately, if I had to make a bet, and I love America, my family fled Iran to come to the United States. I love the United States. I wish we will always stay number one, but I'm also practical. I think there's a 60, 70% chance that China has the number one superpower, number one economy within the next 10 years.
Wow.
And this lie that they just have all these property and all these buildings that are empty and that they're stupid and all they do is they copy and cheat and lie and everyone hates their government. This is classic indoctrination from the West.
Propaganda.
It is. We are the masters of propaganda, bro. Like we have our own variation of Al Jazeera. Economically. We're economically indoctrinating and pushing propaganda on our middle class. We've destroyed our middle class, Sean. We've destroyed our middle class. And even to give them an opportunity to go invest in China, trade in China, no, because that's scary. Those are commies. Don't go do that. Invest only in the United States. Well, then the politician you find out is doing insider trading. They're making millions. They're investing in China, but they tell you don't do it. I don't think it's patriotism I think the idea of diversification, financial diversification, does not question one's patriotism, bro. You can be a patriot and have financial diversification. We have a president right now, President Trump. He's about to open up in the UAE. He's about to open up in Qatar. He has a hotel in Azerbaijan. It's okay to invest in other countries. The super rich do that. Right now in Switzerland, not far from my home in Germany, you have more and more Americans opening up bank accounts in Switzerland. Why? Because people want to take their cash out of here. There's so much political chaos. There's so much instability. And that's going to get much worse. So you already have rich Americans taking their money and putting it in Switzerland, opening up Swiss bank accounts. And even with Obama, someone might look at this and say, oh, well, yeah, Obama made it a lot harder. Obama made it harder, but you can still do it clean. You just have more regulation. You need specialists to help you. It's confusing by design. It's intentionally confusing by design. It's intentionally ambiguous by design. There's intentionally complexity by design. They're trapping the middle class in the United States. The middle class says, oh, it's too foreign to go to China and invest in their stock market. It's too foreign. That's exactly why they're undervalued. That's exactly why it feels too foreign. Well, that's the opportunity. If it wasn't familiar, then because it's not familiar, you have these massive opportunities for big gains. Unfamiliarity equals undervalued.
Yep. You're spot on, man.
When it comes to China.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm going to look into it more myself.
And one more thing I'd like to just say is, if I could say one last point. Look, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm American as apple pie. America saved my grandfather's life. I'll always be loyal to this country. It's deep for me, man. My family, grandfather fled Iran. I am it's hard to have my sort of patriotism for the United States. Any immigrant, I was born in Atlanta, but my parents were immigrants. So I had my foot in both worlds. Overseas, Iran and Israel, and here in the United States. And someone could say, I don't trust China. I don't trust those commies either. But you're not going to marry them, bro. You're just trading it. And the big banks are already there. You got all these middle-class Americans just sitting there like little ducks asking for permission. Far too late. And it bothers me that we have the elite in this country that are ignoring the middle class. They're ignoring the working class. And if we fuck them so hard, they're going to revolt, bro. We're not going to have a country. Again, I'm not a liberal, but I've been very fortunate financially. And I do think if we don't take care of the middle class, if we don't help the middle class, at the very least say, hey, bro, take 10, 20% of your money. Take 30% of your money. You got 100,000, take 10, 20, $30,000. Go buy some physical gold. Go buy some Bitcoin. Go buy some Chinese stock. Go buy something other than in the United States, having your money in the stock market in USD, because if this fucking thing sinks, you're left with nothing, bro. You're left with nothing. Don't do that to yourself, man.
I look at it like risk reward. It's like, why would you want 7% a year, but the chance of it crashing is really high?
Bro, diversification is like the greatest, and it doesn't have to be my community. It could learn about, another country that you have an interest in. It's like, just see what's going, just learn about other things, learn about other instruments. Diversification, bro. It's not just about asset class. Mm-hmm. It's also about geography.
Absolutely. Nima, it's been fun. Thanks for coming on, man. We'll link your stuff below.
Thank you, brother.
See you guys.
Thank you.